Let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast, Joe Rogan, Jimmy Dore, and of course, Coach Colin. We got some stuff for you today. Now, what we're focusing on is Jill Biden. There was a couple of clips within the Jimmy Dore, Joe Rogan podcast where they brought up Jill Biden and her responsibility. But Joe Rogan and Jimmy aren't the only people who think so. So after I show you a couple of clips within this podcast, we're going to move on and show some proof that, not that she's to blame, but there are definitely people who feel that way. And then we're going to hear Joe Biden's most recent response to the claims that he needs to step aside and step down. And then we're going to show what some people are calling the most important interview in this election. He's being sat down and he's being asked about, hey, is this just an episode or was this just a bad night? And his response pretty much, even if he gives a great response, people are still going to be like, hey, you need to step down, just based on everything we've seen over the past 5 years, right? But he's going to give an answer. And then we're going to move on to a very interesting conspiracy theory by none other than Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, I don't know him to really give in to conspiracies, but he has one about Jill Biden. You got to hear this. Let's get into it. Joe Rogan first, Jimmy Dore, let's go.
Tenable that he couldn't run inside because they would have these different rules that they were just making up just to screw him.
So now, do they do this once there's an incumbent, right? Once there's a president in place, do they do this because there's so many jobs that are completely dependent upon that guy being in office? Not just the Democratic Party, but that guy. So if a new guy comes in, like if RFK Jr. comes in, if he wins, then everyone's out of a job.
Oh, yeah. Well,
the whole machine's out of a job. So it's very clear watching Joe Biden talk, very clear, that he's not making all his decisions and someone writes his stuff down. We've seen the cue cards that he has. They tell him what to say. We see him read teleprompters and say, end of quote. He says things like that. He just did it again. Does it all the time. So we know that there's no fucking way he's the man behind the machine. So that means there's a bunch of people that work for him that are essentially running the country.
Right.
And those people don't want to lose that position, including his wife. His wife apparently, by all takes, and she did an interview afterwards where she said he's smarter than he's ever been, and I know him, I see him buying clothes. She doesn't want him to stop.
Pure evil.
What is that?
That's just pure evil. I mean,
do you think it's just like a power thing? She's in power. She doesn't want to not be the first lady anymore. Like, what is it?
Yeah, of course. That's what I think it is. Well, how could you not have compassion for your own frickin' husband? I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, he should have had his keys taken away years ago. Yeah. And here she is trying. And you did a good job. You answered all the questions.
Crazy.
That's how you talk to a 3-year-old. He answered all the questions. I could see answering one or two, but all of them?
If my wife talked to me like that, I would just start laughing because I'd think, oh, she's fucking with me. I wouldn't just stand there and
you wouldn't be saying
yes, I did. It's a wild video. Play that video. Play that video of Jill saying that to Joe because I saved it.
And by the way, I listened to the debate again on the plane.
Why? You fucking get the pertinent information from round one? You're like, I need to go over this with a fine-tooth comb.
Because they kept saying that, because the line now is that Joe might not have answered the questions, quickly or loudly, but he was telling the truth. His first answer, he lied 3 times. Joe Biden. He lied about the Medicare's. It's $2,000. He said it was $200. He lied about the diabetes, and he lied about Trump saying the bleach thing. Trump never said the bleach thing. He was talking about ultraviolet irradiation, which is a real thing that actually works.
It actually works, and not only that, they've used it for decades.
But
and there was talk about using it for respiratory diseases and shining light into the lungs.
I've talked to a doctor who told me that that worked well. And so the people like the medical association, they came to him and they go, hey, you have to sell this technology to us. And he said no. And they go, well, if you don't, we're going to have bullshit that says this doesn't work. And that's exactly what they did.
Wow.
And they do that to everything.
Let's play this real quick.
You did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts.
Bro.
And let me ask the crowd.
Look at him standing there.
What did Trump do? Lie!
Oh, bro, he looks so baffled. First of all, if I was in his corner, first thing I would have done is given him a hairpiece. Let's go, bro. I wish you can't compete with Trump's wacky hair. You need fake hair. You need fully fake hair. I think they'll buy it. Don't even sweat it. We're gonna glue a nice piece on you. You're gonna have a distinguished head of hair. Second of all, whoever the fuck is giving your Botox, back off a little. Let the guy move the forehead a little bit. This is ridiculous. You're not tricking me into thinking he's young. I know exactly how old he is.
Go to the watch how she. Oh no, that's not it.
When she helps him off the stage.
Yes, this is it. Watch it. She has to walk him down the steps. Are they going to show it? Show it.
Well, yeah, he's got some bad knees.
Show it.
Old war injuries, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Look at
defending
this.
the Girl
Look at
Scouts
this.
from the Taliban.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this.
I know, it's crazy. He has to go
And
sideways.
if you don't think that's the best version, fuck you, Joe.
F you.
F you.
I love that guy because he's the tough guy Democrat.
Yeah.
He's our
But he's a
bulldog.
Republican.
But no, he's a Democrat. He's on TV.
Oh,
on
yeah.
CNBC.
MSNBC.
Whatever
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Now, Jill Biden, pure evil. Here's the thing, though, when it comes to this. Is it Jill who's saying, nah, he's good? Or is it Joe saying, hey, you're my wife, you're going to back me up? Because, listen, I don't know her. I don't know her as a person. But I know if I was like that and I wanted to do something, that my wife would back me up. You know, she would. And that's what women do sometimes. They just let the man be the leader because that's how it is. You know, so I don't know. But also, I don't know, man, because a lot of people are saying, you know, if I was his child, that they would step in. I'm just moving on to the next clip now. I would step in. But, you know, maybe you don't have any say. A lot of people don't have any say in what their dads do. Like some dad, like I feel like I'm going to be the type of dad that's like, don't tell me what to do. I'm 78 years old. You think you're going to tell me something? I don't know. Maybe I will be the kind of dad that will listen. I don't know. This whole thing, I don't know about for you. I'm going to play this next clip right now. It really makes me think about this. Like as I look at my in-laws and my own mother, I start to, you know, because my mom is what? She's like maybe 9 years younger than Biden, you know? But she's with it, you know? She's like hitting 12,000 steps before noon. She has a personal trainer. She's constantly moving around. She works out every day. She was a bodybuilder in her life, you know? So she's good, but man, it's scary. Scary to think. But at the end of the day, although I am questioning these things, I do think it is her duty to step in and say, hey, you can't be doing this. You can't be doing this. You are the leader of our family, and I want you back in that helm. I don't want you doing that. I don't want you running for president anymore. It does kind of seem like, because, you know, she's been on Vogue covers for a few years now. Like people were talking about how Melania Trump, an actual supermodel, never on the cover, never made time for that kind of thing. Jill Biden, on the other hand, making time for that kind of thing, constantly speaking, doing these speeches afterwards. She's filling in where he's not capable, you know, and maybe that is her enabling. To say pure evil, I don't know. That's if she knows. And she definitely wants to be in power, but that goes along with the conspiracy theory that's going to be coming up in a few seconds. Let's play this clip beforehand, though.
People, that's what it's about.
That's all it's
they want to
about.
bring democracy.
That's what I've been saying. I'm glad you came around.
Thank you.
That's why I brought you here. I brought you here to educate you.
Yeah.
I'm an educator.
Breaking: President Biden says on a conference call he's staying in.
Yes! I'm running. I am the leader of the Democratic Party. No one is pushing me out. I've been knocked down before and counted out my whole life. When you get knocked down, you get back up.
Oh. I think I bet my phone was lighting up.
I like his moxie. I like it.
I've been told by I have a billionaire friend who's like a donor. They go, hey, they had a big donor meeting in Denver, like 40 of the top Democratic donors, and they said, who here wants to get rid of Joe Biden? And every hand went up. So that's.
I think Jill Biden is a secret Trump fan. That's what I think, and I think she knows the way to get Trump back in the White House and straighten this country out is to keep her husband, Joe Biden, running. There's no way she thinks he's okay. So something's going on. What like conspiratorially, pretend to be Kurt Metzger for a moment. And what do you think, like if you had to say, why would she want him in? You would say, well, because she thinks maybe he can win, even though he's demented, and maybe she can stay in power, but also maybe he doesn't get prosecuted. So this is my question about the recent Supreme Court ruling about the presidential immunity. If I was in the Democratic Party and I looked at what's going on with Donald Trump, and I looked at the very real possibility that Donald Trump might get back into the White House, I would say, listen, all this Burisma stuff, all this is big time shit. There's a lot of evidence, not a little bit of evidence like the Trump thing, not 34 charges of felonies, which is just a misdemeanor.
That's right. What happens when Trump gets in office? You know, what happens? Because a lot of people say, oh, you know, here's what I think is going to happen when Trump gets in office, because it's when, it's not if anymore. When he gets in office, Biden's going to get prosecuted, and people on the left are going to be like, see, Trump's a dictator. Look at what he's doing. Oh my God, what a dictator. I can't believe he's doing this to this man. I think that's going to happen because if you look into what he's accused of and the testimonies that have come forward, man, like Joe said, it's a lot deeper than 34. Oh, I didn't write the correct thing in this little box here. You know, it's way deeper than that, way more corrupt than that. Trump didn't even really break a law. There's no law that he actually broke. Because if you look into the whole case, and I've talked about this at length before, if you look into the case, it's about hiding a crime. That's what he's doing when he fills it in differently. But then when you uncover what he's doing, which is this hush money thing, it's not a crime. It's not a crime to do that before an election so that story doesn't come out. That is not illegal. You're allowed to do that. There are constantly people running for office that have a thing here, a skeleton there, and they make sure it doesn't come out. It's not illegal to do that. You can argue if it's moral or this or that, but it's definitely not illegal. There's no law broken. Just so you get a little update here, Joe Biden just released this today. He was saying, let me be as clear as I can. I am the sitting president of the United States of America. I am the nominee of the Democratic Party. I am staying in this race. And this was put out about 4 hours ago. So he's very serious about that. Now we're moving on. This is the interview that he had to do. A lot of people are calling this a very big interview because based on how he answers and how he conducts himself, a lot of people are watching with a microscope right now on Joe Biden, seeing his face movements, his ability to speak, all things of that nature. Let's listen in on what they're talking about.
You and your team have said you had a bad night. But your friend Nancy Pelosi actually framed the question that I think is on the minds of millions of Americans. Was this a bad episode or the sign of a more serious condition?
It was a bad episode. No indication of any serious condition. I was exhausted. I didn't listen to my instincts in terms of preparing, and I had a bad night.
You know, you say you were exhausted, and I know you've said that before as well, but you came, and you did have a tough month, but you came home from Europe about 11 or 12 days before the debate, spent 6 days in Camp David. Why wasn't that enough rest time, enough recovery time?
Because I was sick. I was feeling terrible. Matter of fact, the docs with me, I asked them, they did a COVID test because they were trying to figure out what was wrong. They did a test to see whether or not I had some infection, a virus. I didn't. They just had a really bad cold.
And did you ever watch the debate afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
Well, what I want to get at is what were you experiencing as you were going through the debate? Did you know how badly it was going?
Yeah, look. The whole way I prepared, nobody's fault, mine. Nobody's fault but mine. I prepared what I usually would do, sitting down, as I did come back with foreign leaders or the National Security Council, for explicit detail. And I realized about partway through that, I get quoted, the New York Times had me down at 10 points before the debate, 9 now, or whatever the hell it is. The fact of the matter is that what I looked at is that he also lied 28 times. The way the debate ran, not my fault, no one else's fault. No one else's fault.
But it seemed like you were having trouble from the first question in, even before he spoke.
Well, I just had a bad night.
Oh man, even ABC is going at him, man. It's so weird to see all these mainstream media platforms going at Joe Biden. Sanjay Gupta actually recently just urged Biden to get a cognitive test. And it's funny that he said he had a doctor at Camp David, but nobody's ever talking about any type of cognitive test. Testing him to see what kind of virus he has, how sick he is, but nothing to see anything else. And I'm pretty sure I heard that when he got tested to see what he had, what kind of cold he had, I believe they said it's just the fact that you're 81 years old. I think that was it. That for some people is a tough one to get over. The fact that you are so old. That's what some doctors say. They just go, "You are so old." That's what it is. It's sad. This is speaking to what Jimmy Dore said about billionaires. He said he had a billionaire friend and they all decided that they wanted to see Biden out. Here's one of those billionaires actually putting out a tweet talking about this exact thing.
This on X yesterday. He said, I no longer blame Biden for not stepping aside. He's no longer has the mental acuity to make important judgments about himself. It is becoming increasingly clear, however, that the fault lies with First Lady Jill Biden. And Michael, you know, a lot of people are going, nobody knows Joe better than her, and she's protecting him to the exclusion of the United States of America.
Yeah, so a couple things to understand, and I just want to paint the picture, paint you a picture of what I observed and what I've seen. I'm not making an argument either way, but they don't live in each other's shadows, and if he didn't want to be president, if he didn't want to run again,
right,
she would be the first one in her car headed to the beach, and she would have no reason to ever come back to Washington, D.C. She doesn't care about politics that much. When those two make a decision, or when they support each other for either of their aspirations. When she wanted to get 3 degrees or teach as second lady or teach as first lady, he didn't stand in her way. He supported her. And she has done the same with 47 years of his campaigns and debates and speeches and
So Michael, you're saying
She's literally leading him off the stage in the clip that they're showing beside this guy as he's saying it. This is wild, man. It is just so apparent. I'm so glad we're not in the world of conspiracy. I'm so glad the past 4 years kind of knocked that off as a talking point to dismiss people, because it's just the information just happens so quickly. She's literally leading him off stage. Like, look at this. She made sure to grab him by the hand. Grab him by the hand. Listen. When my wife grabs my hand, she doesn't walk ahead of me. No chance. She's leading him off the stage like this way, Joe. Obviously. It's very interesting. So that billionaire that sent out that tweet, his name's Bill Ackman, and he is blaming Jill Biden as well, saying that it's up to her. And that might be true. I mean, who is Hunter Biden to say anything to Joe right now? You know, Hunter Biden says, Dad, you don't want to do, you got to stop doing this. He would look at him and be like, if I'm not president, you're going to jail. What do you mean, Dad? I mean, I just didn't. No. I don't think you understand, okay? I can't remember a lot of things, but I know one thing. If I'm not president, you go to jail for years. Yeah, and that's very true. There's another clip I have here of Joe Biden getting interviewed by this propagandist here. Check it out.
Husband is 81. At the end of a second term, he'd be 86. As his life partner of 46 years, is there a part of you that is worried about his age and health? Can he do it?
He can do it, and I see Joe every day. I see him out, traveling around this country. I see his vigor. I see his energy. I see his passion every single day.
So, to those who say, I can't vote for Joe Biden, he's too old, what do you say?
I say his age is an asset.
That's not true. It's not true. Unless you're like Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan's almost 60, but you see him running around. He's out working out a bunch of comedians that he brings along with him who are in their 30s. You know, Joe Rogan gets to 70 and he's even, 3/4 of what he is now. His age is definitely an asset. 100%, because he's cognitive. He knows what's going on. He can fight. He can show you how to fight. He would have an age that's an asset. At this point, Biden's age is not his asset. And if it was an asset, it would be in a advisory role to someone else who has more energy, more cognitive ability. Just going back to what that gentleman on Fox said, this gentleman here, when he was saying that they don't live in each other's shadows. Hey, man, that's not true. When you're the president of the United States, everyone in your family lives in your shadow. They just do. You're in the highest office. You're the leader of the free world. Of course, she's living in his shadow. And of course, he's been vice president, senator. Of course, her as a teacher, he's not living in her shadow. She went to school. Yeah, he's not living in her shadow. I'm just saying, when it comes to an office so high, I think there are people who would want, she may not care about politics, but politics in that office so high up gives you a lot of power, and maybe she has an interest in power. I don't know. Or maybe she's in the mindset of, if my boys aren't in some position of power, all my family's going to jail. It's just going to be me and this Ashley, and that's it. The rest of them are just going to be in jail. So I got to make sure that this guy runs for president and wins. I don't know. Now, we're moving on to Charlie Kirk. Listen to this theory. It is scary.
Similar, by the way, to when Woodrow Wilson, a very bad president, was declining towards the end of his presidency, and Edith Wilson basically took control of the American presidency, which was his wife, is Jill Biden. Jill Biden is effectively running the country right now. No one voted for Jill Biden. No one really knows who she is, and she's not even a real doctor.
No, she's not a real doctor. Even today, she's on the cover of Vogue now. She got the Vogue treatment, something they never did for Melania Trump, a literal supermodel. But Jill Biden's on the front of it now. And you can see it says, "We will decide our future," though she was talking about women's rights. In any event, as she parades herself out there as, I guess, some sort of a fashion model. Okay. We are reminded of just last month. It was June 6th. Today's July 1st. A couple weeks ago, which she tweeted out a picture of herself sitting there with Joe Biden's jacket over her chair, preparing for the G7. Why is she going to there's 2021. Okay, so it's 2021, even worse. How long has she been in charge? And the problem is that all of the Democrats' hopes come down to what this woman wants. All of them come down to what, can you imagine if they did this with Melania Trump, preparing for the G7, sitting in the president's chair, getting ready for the G7? And so they had a meeting at Camp David yesterday on Sunday with intimate family and advisors. The NBC News had reported out that they were going to do this. It was a pre-scheduled meeting, but that the focus had been updated to include President Biden's future. Then the White House tried to deny it. Then the White House got mad at NBC for not reporting that this has been pre-planned. Then NBC sniped back. It's in paragraph 2. Suck it. Okay, that was my addition. And they had this meeting, and who decided what he's going to do? Reportedly, Jill Biden and Hunter Biden.
Yep.
The biggest grifter in the administration. And honestly, Jill Biden turns out to be a bit of a grifter too. She's power hungry. She's like a Hillary Clinton. She's not a Laura Bush. She's not a Melania Trump. She's not somebody who's just there to support her husband. She seems to me like somebody who is out for her own power and can't let go.
Yes. And it's staring at us in the face. What if they pull Joe Biden with Jill Biden? And I'm not kidding. First female president. Joe can still be around. His health is not the same way. But I mean, it's right. It's staring at us right in the face. It's not Michelle Obama or Gretchen Whitmer.
What did you say?
It's Biden. Think about it, though. I mean, she's
they
on the
wouldn't have
front
to change
cover
the ballots.
of Vogue. They don't have to change the ballots. It's still voting for Biden. Joe can still be around as a senior advisor. He's not who he used to be. First female president in a year makes Roe more front and center. Why would they go outside of the family
territory? Remember Primary Colors? And the guy who played J.R. Ewing, what was his name? Larry, you remember, Hagman. He was playing the role of like the more reasonable candidate, and he was running, and then he had to withdraw because anyway. And then he died, and his wife ran.
It keeps Joe Biden around for all of his relationships. But then, Jill Biden can't be accused of all the same things, mental decline. She can even say, "Hey, I was kind of running this place." And I
have
kind of know
never
what
heard
I'm
anybody
doing.
say this. This is the first person I've heard say it's possibly Jill, and it's not insane.
I think it's the most probable. She's not in the betting markets. No one's thinking it. She's now more front and center, front page of Vogue, and it's the same last name. So you don't have this huge switch.
Right?
Think about it.
Okay.
Wow. That is funny to me, but also, like Megyn said, it's not that insane. Imagine she gets put in place, because then it's like, I don't know. That would be so weird. So weird. But all in all, throughout this episode, a lot of people pointing the finger at Jill Biden to be the one to get Biden to actually step down and step aside so someone else can go against Trump and lose, because they're definitely going to lose. Doesn't matter who it is. Newsom, Harris, it doesn't matter who. Jill Biden, whoever it is, Joe Biden, Michelle Obama, they all lose. They all lose. It's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Now, I even maybe I'm wrong here, because I did an episode on my other channel where I was talking about Jill Biden after Hunter Biden actually went to court and everything that happened there, got indicted, got found guilty on all these charges. And I was like, poor lady, because she had to be in court for Hunter. And just before that, she had to be in the G7 and she's trying to lead her husband around. And I was like, poor lady. But when you take this mindset of what Charlie has said, what Jimmy Dore has said, what the billionaire, what all these people are saying, maybe she's scrambling around like this because she wants this family to remain in this position. Maybe that's actually what's going on. I don't know. Could you imagine she became president? Oh, good golly. I don't even know her enough to know if it would be good or bad, but I know it would be bad. I got a hunch. I got a good hunch. But yeah, some interesting theories coming out of all sorts of different places, different walks of life. Jimmy Dore and Charlie Kirk do not intersect. I've never seen them in the same room before. Joe Rogan, all these people, Megyn Kelly, all these people are talking about how she's power hungry. She wants to stay in power. She's not like Melania Trump. She's not just sitting by her husband. She's sitting in the president's desk. I did not know all this. So for me, it's actually very surprising. And you know what? I hope it is her, because it'll just show an even more corrupt side of this family, and Trump will just dominate. It'll just be done deal. That's just my thinking. I don't see the black vote coming over to Jill Biden whatsoever. They're starting to learn about Joe when he was a senator and all the things that he said and did. Then they're going to look at Jill and just be like, who are you? You're just the guy that you're the lady who has just been condoning everything that this man's been doing. So I think the black vote's done from there. There's just no chance. Anyways, guys, just wanted to bring you all that interesting theory. Let me know what you think in the comment section of a Jill Biden versus Donald Trump election. Turn on the notifications, subscribe, like. I'm out.